So I'll be talking about, thanks giving me opportunity to talk here. Again, one more IC. We're talking about record keeping, detection, and documenting progress in glaucoma. So I just talk about actually what is glaucoma. Basically, glaucoma is a progressive neuropathy. The cupping has to be progressed, along with the optic axillary damage, the loss of axonal bundle nerve fiber layer, and loss of associated function. Basically, cupping is the hallmark in the form of glaucoma, and the cupping other than the glaucoma is you get a pallor. Rarely A1 cause cupping. So the normal optic disc is vertically oval, it's around 1.5 to 2 millimeter diameter. It has to be a symmetrical pink rim with a neuroretinal rim. What do you call this is a disc and what is a cup? Between disc and cup, you call neuroretinal rim. And normally a cup disc ratio has to be around 0.1 to 0.4. Only 5% of the population has a cup disc ratio of more than 0.6. So anything is more than 0.6 is significant for glaucoma suspect. I have few discs to say is glaucoma or not. See, this is the right hand and after the patients. I think I'll come back to it later after my. This is the glaucoma. Again, the right and left eye of the patients. It's not a stereoscopic picture. It's only two-dimensional picture. Again, the glaucoma. Sometimes you can dim your room light just to see much better view of this disc. This is the glaucoma. So I just given a few examples. There are 7 steps to diagnose a glaucoma disc damage given to you. The first thing is everybody talked about 90-day examination. After the patient looks straight at your ears, you can hit the disc directly. Okay. And if you use 90-day after examination, the magnification is 6.6. The next is there are 7 sizes. The first step is to ask the disc size. Is it small? Is it less than 1.5? It is a bigger 1.2 or is more than 2. So once you know that this size, the small, the medium, and large size. Next thing is to know the disc size. How much to know the disc size? You can like a hack stick. You can measure exactly. You can put a slit beam into the disc, and you can measure how much exactly it is your disc size. Okay, this is an easy way to know your disc size. Number 2 is ask yourself, the disc is it is circular or it is an oval. Okay, depending upon that, your rim will be decided. Okay, and the cup rim size is appropriate to this size. Okay, then you just look at your cup size is approximately this size. See, this is a case of a small disc and having a more cup. This is a large disc having a large cup. So we will. And basically, the rules is a small disc a small rim and large disc a large rim, and a small disc suppose have no cup, a large disc suppose have a large cup. And if you look at the rim and the cup outline, pallor does not follow the rim, and vessels do it more because the first kinging happens at the base of lamina cribrosa, and second kinging happens at the level of the border of the cup. And you can see here there's the bending, the second bending at exactly it knows exactly how your cup size. And there are bearing of circumference. This is the bearing of circumference vessels and nasal displacement of the vessels. They can add to your diagnosis, but does not prove your glaucoma. And ask yourself where the smallest rim with the different in the temporal horizontal position. Like suppose the rim width basically is called isn't rule. The rim width basically widest inferiorly, then widest superiorly, then nasally, then temporally. It's called isn't it? In glaucoma, it doesn't follow. The glaucoma, the isn't rule doesn't follow. The thinning in inferiorly, superiorly, nasally, and the last temporally. Ask yourself, did I look at the red-free illumination? And there is any localized nerve fiber defect? Is there any overall decrease in nerve fiber visibility? especially in a cataract or a PCO, you have a low nerve fiber visibility. If you draw exactly a line at the center of the disc, the fovea fall below that. That is the more number of nerve fibers inferiorly compared to superiorly. That's the reason the visibility is more common in the infero-temporally first, then supero-temporally, then comes supero-nasally, then come infero-nasally. This is the classical of an diffuse nerve fiber defect. See from here to here, totally this is a color picture. Loss of striations, less textures, more prominent appearing mid-sized vessels, and this is a classical of a diffuse defect. So this is a wedge defect. This is the wedge defect from here, the classical of both inferior and superior wedge defect. The more striking, the more arcuate goes with the wedge shape. There's a thinning in the peripheral region. There's a thinning in the peripheral region and the fanning of the periphery. This is one of the important mark of the wedge defect. Next is the slit defect. Slit defects are very small. They don't extend to the disc margin. They don't represent pathology. They are seen in 10% normal eyes. Only thing is they don't extend the disc rim, and there's not a pathology to say a glaucoma. Number 6, ask user did a rule out to operate a hemorrhage. In glaucoma, if you see a hemorrhage, more or less always rules glaucoma. A patient some glaucoma unless proved otherwise. See, classically a disc hemorrhage, somebody won't see a very big disc hemorrhage. You can see a small disc hemorrhage along with a nerve fiber defect here and a color picture and a red field picture. And a disc hemorrhage is very likely to miss during our examination. Again, in peripheral atrophy, and zone beta is more important for us. Zone beta is inner to the zone alpha. Is atrophy in RP and cardiac capillaries. Only sclera and large core vessels are seen. What happened in glaucoma? This zone beta frequency and size increase in glaucoma, and this way you can say the patient is progressed or not. Asymmetrical cupping more than 0.2 is seen only 1%, less than 1% of the population. So anybody having asymmetry of more than 0.2 is a significant side glaucoma. But before you say asymmetry, you must know what the disc is symmetrical or not. The disc size is symmetrical, then your cup has to be, then asymmetry is more meaningful. So we know normally it's coined our cup is ratio to 0.2 to 0.9, but what happened to say if somebody says, see this is only a 0.3 cupping in both eyes, but is this a glaucoma? It's definitely glaucoma. See the rim is lost here. So what cup is ratio does not describe the loss of near-lateral rim tissue, a high intraocular reliability, and the cup ratio does not correlate with the effect of the optic nerve disc size. So this is a serial photograph taken for this patient in the right eye, the patient in 2006 and 18. And this seems to be a glaucoma suspect. There's a wearing of circumferential vessels and nerve fiber. Some slip defects are there. And I don't see any progression in the right eye of the patient. But same patient that left eye, I see there's some neural detection loss in the left eye, and especially the superior part. I'm suspecting a progression in the glaucoma. So I just say from 0.7 cup is moved to 0.8 cup. So definitely this is a glaucoma. So again, coming back to ask, this is glaucoma or not? Again, it's a non-glaucoma because see the disc size. The disc size is smaller here. The disc size is much bigger here. Because the disc size is smaller, you have a cup smaller. Because the disc size is bigger, the cup is bigger. And this I say it is not a glaucoma. What about this size? This is a glaucoma or not? Again, say the non-glaucoma. See the disc size. This size is bigger in the right eye. The disc size is smaller in the left eye. Because of that, the asymmetric cupping is there, and because of that, and the nerve fiber looks to be normal, and I say it is not a glaucoma. This is glaucoma again. Again, this refer to glaucoma clinic, but see this, the disc is here horizontal oval, the disc is vertically oval. Because of the disc is vertically oval, the cuppers are vertical oval. Because the disc is vertically horizontal oval, the cuppers are vertical oval. Again, the normal variations, it may not be a glaucoma. What about this? This is a glaucoma. Yeah, this is a glaucoma. See the splendor hemorrhage here, both two splendor hemorrhages are most likely to be a glaucoma. The nerve fiber defect is here, and this is glaucoma. This again the case of and student glaucoma with high pressure. Here, notch here, inferior notch, more better than cupping. He had a student glaucoma, pressure 50, done a surgery for him. And is this a glaucoma or not? This is a small disc, the large disc. I told you the small disc must not have a cup. You have a cup. So when you have a cup, you always see the nerve, compare the nerve fiber here and here. The nerve fiber defect is here, definitely glaucoma. What about this? This is typically a normal glaucoma. There is Berger circulation, therefore defect. This is glaucoma, and this corresponding field defect, superficial scotoma, and this is myosin glaucoma. Pressure 50, and myosin glaucomas are very high pressure, severe damage, early onset glaucoma, and trabeculotomy needs 100% of the cases. This is a field defect of the glaucoma. So my last slide is to always determine the disc size, check for the unusual disc shape, determine the cup rim size relation to the disc size. Evaluate the rim shape, check for the affability, look for disc coverage, preferably high myopia always rules glaucoma. And optical photography, this way, newer imaging technology, there's a role of photography. This is because of non-variable technology. In ocular hypertension treatment study, 80% of hemorrhage are seen in the fundus photo, where the doubt always take photo. Thank you. This is my disc. I don't think taking a non-material fundus camera, I feel is 0.2 and 0.3. Thank you.